What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Change. In this video, we're going to be talking about a free agent target for the Vancouver Canucks. I know we've been doing a series on off-season center trade targets. This one's going to be a little different. We're going to be talking about a free agent target, as obviously Canucks are going to be looking at free agency targets this upcoming off-season. And despite the focus being on that, targeting centers, as they obviously need a second line center. And Jim Rutherford basically saying at the end of the season press conference that they were likely going to get that second line center by a trade as opposed to in free agency. But we're going to look at an article written by our friends over at Canucks Army talking about a free agency target for the Vancouver Canucks, and he's not a center. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. This article is written by Jacob Fraser of Canucks Army, and it highlights and specifically targets Nikolaj Ehlers as a free agency target, a name that we've mentioned on this channel in the past. Actually, if you guys want to check out that video, we did it like a few months ago during the season, when the season was still going on. We talked about Nikolaj Ehlers. You guys can find that video right here if you guys want to go check that out. But we're going to revisit this topic of Nikolaj Ehlers and signing him in the offseason. But let's go ahead and start. Adding another centerman to the Vancouver Canucks lineup isn't their only need in the offseason, which is true. This Canucks team is filled with middle and bottom six wingers, and if management wants to give Elias Pettersson the best chance possible at a bounce back year, they could look to add a true top six winger that can play alongside him. Obviously, we talk about this as there's a very good chance that Brock Boeser does not return. Therefore, we are going to need someone to replace him. The upcoming free agency class doesn't leave the team with a ton of options to target, but with Nikolaj Ehlers likely being available on July 1st, keep in mind also Ehlers has, at least when we talked about him before, made it known that he wanted a change of scenery. Now, we don't know if that's changed since then. Obviously, with Winnipeg being eliminated in the playoffs, that may also be the case as well. But in this one, we're going to be talking about Nikolaj Ehlers, and he's, of course, one of their best options to go after. So let's look at the player himself. Ehlers is coming off back-to-back 60-plus point seasons where he scored over 20 goals in each. He also had a solid playoff performance this season, registering 7 points in 8 games. The Danish forward is a speedy, skilled winger who would add much-needed offense to the Canucks lineup immediately. He's coming off one of the best seasons in his career, being on a 75-point pace in 82 games, and at 29 years old is very much in the prime of his career. He isn't the biggest player listed at 6 foot, 172 pounds, so don't expect him to be a grit and grind type of player, and injuries are certainly a concern, but he is a dangerous threat off the rush that can create for himself and his teammates, making anyone around him a threat to score. Now let's look at the fit. The addition of Ehlers would make him the Canucks' best winger right away. He finished the year in Winnipeg playing on the Jets' second line with Cole Perfetti and Vladislav Namestnikov. Coming to Vancouver, he would slot in on their first line playing with Elias Pettersson and Jake DeBrusk. His offensive output alongside Perfetti and Namestnikov would suggest that playing with Pettersson and DeBrusk, who are objectively upgrades over his line mates in Winnipeg, would allow Ehlers to flourish and have the potential to reach new career highs and point totals. His ability to create for his line mates could unlock Pettersson's goal-scoring ability once again, as well as give DeBrusk even more opportunity to find the back of the net. Ehlers excels creating off the rush and is one of the NHL's best at controlled zone entries. The Canucks struggled with this a ton, and with a lack of high-octane forechecking from Pettersson, Ehlers' ability to enter the offensive zone with possession of the puck, this could lead to more high-danger chances off the rush for the Canucks. The three of them on the line would be a threat off the rush, and with DeBrusk playing more of that power forward role, Pettersson and Ehlers could use their offensive creativity to make things happen while DeBrusk cleans it up in and around the net. Ehlers would also add a ton of skill to the Canucks power play. This season, he was on the Jets' top unit, which was the best in the NHL regular season. He managed to register 22 points on the power play as part of that unit and was predominantly featured in the bumper spot, but would pop out and shift around to the half wall and below the circles. Adding him to the Canucks unit, he would likely have a similar role, starting in the bumper spot, but supporting Pettersson on the right side, jumping out to be an option down low, and then shifting around and swapping spots with Pettersson to create movement and open up holes in the opposing team's penalty kill. Not only would he add a ton of value to the power play in the offensive zone, but with the Canucks struggles to break the puck into the zone on the power play, his elite level talent to bring the puck in with possession could be a big addition to the Canucks power play breakout. Now let's look at what it might cost. Currently, according to AFP Analytics, Ehlers is projected to receive a contract of just over $8 million over 6 seasons. We know that adding players through free agency usually comes at a premium cost, especially this offseason, with the lack of elite players available in free agency. The Canucks offered to entice Ehlers to coming to Vancouver would likely be a 7-year deal. The maximum allowed for UFAs and would have to be around $9 million, if not more. His offensive production may not be quite what you'd want from a $9 million player. However, the opportunity Ehlers would have in Vancouver could allow him to be worth that amount in his first season. And with the salary cap rising over the next few years, his current production would still make this a solid deal for the Canucks. So what do you think, Canucks fans? Should the team target a solidified top 6 NHL winger in Nikolaj Ehlers, or should they look to take more risk? Should they look to take more risks on less proven players that don't come as a high cost? So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think Nikolaj Ehlers should be a free agency target for the Vancouver Canucks? Personally, I've always liked the idea of going after Ehlers, especially if, not if, but I should say when Brock Besser walks, you're going to need someone to replace him. Obviously, people have talked about Lekramaki being the one to replace Besser, but I just think it's a little too early to put all that pressure on someone like Lekramaki, someone so young. You need someone like Ehlers to replace Besser, and Ehlers is, of course, the best option for the Vancouver Canucks, at least as a winger. So I'm all for the Canucks targeting Nikolaj Ehlers, in free agency. And as what the article stated, talking about him playing with Pettersson and DeBrusk, I think he would really help to unlock Elias Pettersson and his scoring ability that obviously was very lacking this past season. And yes, the injuries are a concern, but at the same time, talking about, him playing with Pettersson and DeBrusk really gets me, really thinking. And just imagine that first line of DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Ehlers. I do think there's a lot of potential for him to have an even better season than he did with Winnipeg this past year. That, of course, being Ehlers. But once again, I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys like the idea of targeting Nikolaj Ehlers? And what do you guys think he should get from the Canucks? Obviously, AFP Analytics suggests he could get a 7-year, $9 million deal, or perhaps just under 9, maybe more. How much would you be willing to pay for a guy like Nikolaj Ehlers for the Canucks to sign in free agency? Once again, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And as always, if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks, as well as Abbotsford Canucks content, be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you never miss any videos. If you'd like to find us on social media, you can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change and you will find our Facebook page. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on Twitter /X at Line Change Van. You can also find us on TikTok at the.line.change.po. Feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. And if you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Once again, on Spotify, feel free to give us a follow as well as rate and review us. It is greatly appreciated. But that's going to do it for me in this video. As always, go Canucks go, and I'll see you guys in the next video.